God's aim in your life is not happiness. His aim is holiness. And what does that mean? It means that unhappy things are going to happen in your life. And when unhappy things do happen, God uses them to produce holiness in and through your life. How many of you grew up in a household where the goal for your parents was not that you would be happy 100% of the time, but that you would grow into a healthy and whole human being? That's why when you ask them things, oftentimes you heard the answer no. And it wasn't what you wanted to hear, and it wasn't because they were against you, it was because they loved you. And that's why sometimes they ask you to do things that you didn't want to do. And sometimes they ask you to do things that were really, really hard. And it didn't make you happy that they asked you to do that, but it was part of you growing and developing into who you have become. That's why they set boundaries for you. They didn't just launch you out into the world and say, good luck, figure it out, have fun, be happy. But man, they did everything they could to guide you, to direct you, to watch over you, to protect you, sometimes even to come alongside and to defend you in moments, because they weren't just trying to make you happy, happy, happy all the time. They were trying to help you grow and develop in maturity. They wanted you to have a certain level of self-discipline so that when they did launch you into the world, you would not be overwhelmed by a world that is not a happy world all the time. And because the world is not happy all the time, it requires some hardiness for us from a human perspective. But because it's not a happy world, it's a fallen, broken, sinful world that we live in, what it requires for us is not that we would be happy, and not even that we would be hardy or tough enough to overcome it, but that we would be holy, that we would be focused on Christ, that we would be becoming more like him as we follow him and pursue him and live our life to make much of him. And here's the great thing. When happiness is the aim of life, we very rarely stumble into holiness. But when holiness is the aim of your life, what you find is there's actually more happiness there than you ever would have imagined. Because the happiness comes and goes, but even on the days when the happiness is gone, like even when that's not the story, you still get to live your life daily from a place where you have joy because you have Jesus, because you're pursuing him and growing in him. And that's what the holy life is actually all about.